Well, Mary, I'm interested in understanding what are some of the best strategies for board management, recruiting, retention. Your wheelhouse is in that space. I want to hear from you. What are some of the lessons learned? This show is all about creating community for good. The folks who are listening are board members, they're donors, they're executive directors, they're fundraisers, and engaging with the board is critical at every level. So give me an orientation to how you see the role of the board and how you can really help to make them a singing community, singing from one same songbook to be effective for an organization.
Well, that's covering an awful lot of territory, but let's let's dive into that. I think that the first thing I'd like to say about this is that boards really matter. I think that in the nonprofit sector, especially you executives out there, if you are thinking that you'd rather not even have a board, which I've heard throughout my career, you're really missing out, because boards, through research, we know that an effective nonprofit board really will enhance the performance of your nonprofit. And they do that by helping you make better decisions, by engaging the community and leveraging you as an executive and the volunteers in your nonprofit, by helping you have a powerful reputation. That can work against you the other way. I'm sure we've all read stories about boards misbehaving. And by bringing in resources, which, Lindsay, you know all about that the board has a role in helping with that, whatever your financial model is. So the first thing is boards are valuable. It's really all about relationships, but the function of the board, I think of governance is leadership. There's a good book out there called Governance as Leadership, but it really is leadership. And there are kind of 4 leadership functions when I get in front of boards and talk about what the roles and responsibilities are. I mean, there's some legal things we could talk about, but the 4 leadership functions are, first, to envision the future. That's what we expect leaders to do. And that's what good boards do with their executives, if they have them, is envision that future. It's not just about the status quo. It's about, how do we advance this mission? The second thing is, you got to know where you are, though, right? You got to know where you're starting. You got to know reality, and you got to respond to that. So there's a tension between where you want to go and where you are, but that's the leadership opportunity, is to work together to figure out, how are we going from A to B? The third thing, of course, is engaging the community, inspiring others. You're not a leader if nobody's following you. You've got a vision, you want to go somewhere, you got to be able to get people to go there with you and to invest in helping you get there. And then the fourth is something that I don't think boards think about very often, and I don't think leaders think about very often, and that is self-management and reflection. And so one of the key functions of the board is to say, how are we doing, to assess themselves, and then to create a team, not just a group of people who show up once a month for a meeting, but to say, how do we become a cohesive leadership team? And that involves some work. And back to what you were talking about, it involves good processes for recruiting the right people, orienting them, which is really most of the time not done, in terms of orienting them to governing roles versus what your nonprofit's all about, and other team building kinds of activities, and renewal, and all these things that make effective teams. So that's kind of a long-winded answer to what should a board be doing, and there's more to it, of course.
With this latest valuable episode, we'd love to thank you for joining us on the Creating Community for Good podcast. If you found today's show valuable, simply visit our website, creatingcommunityforgood.com, to leave a review, as well as to get access to additional resources and relevant links from this show. Stay tuned for more episodes.